the next team as well, because remember, you know, we have to discuss, have a conversation based on the topic that they get and the mood that they get. And they would have had to, you know, do some form of research to inform themselves. And our students, you know how the exams go. Even today, we have grade 5. So we have to have a new member on our team who is going to be presenting in this type of debate for the first time, based on the fact that we couldn't get the grade 5s. And the grade 4s have exam less than a week and a half. So we have a new student, and so we wouldn't be in a good place for that right now.
Given that unfortunate reality then, because that obviously is very unfortunate. Given that reality though, can we then suggest that we probably reschedule this match if the teachers are happy to do that? Because in my mind, I don't know if the judges agree.
It would just be the question.
Mr. Rich, I don't think you're understanding what is happening. At this point in time, we are at a situation where we are pressed for time, especially for school.
Yes.
I don't know about halfway through, but I'm going into exam. At my primary
exam even today.
Students at exam today.
Right.
If sacrifice is being made to come on the platform to present, that's why I said to you, be the person who will pose the question to the team that made the presentation, instead of asking the students to do that, because they cannot give any question, ask any question, because they have not read or researched anything that is being presented. So the teacher is not comfortable with their students being uninformed. That's all she's saying.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so we're against rescheduling. We'll proceed.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Pardon me. It means I am going to ask you to send me the mood that Halfway Tree has in its possession by text. And I'm going to ask Holland to do the same, to send that text of the mood so that I can present properly. And we'll ask the speakers to prepare. In the meantime, we'll ask the speakers to introduce themselves, starting with Halfway Tree, and of course to introduce the mood. I must tell you, we're live online, so persons will be watching online. Halfway Tree Primary, it's your turn. Please introduce yourselves.
Make sure go over, make sure the
Good afternoon, my name is Stefan Thomas. I am the first leader of Halfway Tree Primary School debate team.
Good afternoon, my name is Carissa Harrison, and I am the second speaker of the Halfway Tree Primary debate team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sajani Newell, and I'm the third speaker of the Halfway Tree Primary Schools debate team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name
we're going to go over to Holland Primary.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ajara Donner, and I am the first speaker of the Holland Primary School debate team.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sunny Quadaran, and I'm the second speaker of the Holland Primary School debate team.
Good evening. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is J.R. Dane Smith, and I am the third speaker of the Holland Primary debating team.
Thank you very much, Holland. So both teams, of course, have robust presenters, I'm sure. And so we're ready. The mood that I've received, the House would place a legal duty on parents to digitally monitor their children's use of connected devices or face penalties for negligence is the mood on system. I am going to ask Holland Primary to begin to present. It means that we will ask Halfway Tree to listen in and then to get ready to present your moot. Of course, as was decided, I will be your prime opponent, it looks like, Holland. And you're proposing the moot. This house would place, or did you were you to propose or oppose that moot, Holland? I don't want to put you in a more difficult position.
We are opposing.
You're opposing the moot. So we reword the moot. This house will not place a legal duty on parents to digitally monitor their children's use of connected devices or face penalties for negligence. So Holland will be arguing that parents should not have a legal duty to digitally monitor their children's use of connected devices. And the argument will continue that parents should not face penalties for negligence, given that reality. Holland, your first speaker, you're opposing rather that moot, or in the language that I've placed it in, you'll be proposing it. Go ahead, please.
Judges, my teammates, teachers on the platform, my opponents, a pleasant afternoon to you all. My name is Ajar Donner and I proudly represent the Holland Primary School team. I stand here to oppose the moot. Be it resolved that this house would not place a legal duty on parents to digitally monitor their children's use of connected devices or face penalties for negligence. Now, let's get down to business by defining the key terms in this moot. According to Cornwall Law School Legal Information Institute, the term legal duty is defined as, and I quote, an obligation created by law or the contract, end quote. The article goes on to highlight that a legal duty requires a person to conform their actions to a particular standard and recognize that the law will enforce this duty to the benefits for other individuals. The Oxford Dictionary defines the word monitor as, and I quote, to observe, oversee, supervise, and check the quality of something over a period of time and keep it under systematic preview, end quote. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the word device is defined as a thing made or adapted for a particular purpose, such as electronic equipment. My opponents, based on research, we can already conclude that the device we mentioned in the moot relates to cell phones, tablets, computers, and laptops. The word penalty is defined in the Oxford Dictionary as a punishment imposed for breaking a law, rule, or contract. And last but not least, the same dictionary defines the word negligence as failure to take proper care over something or someone. In this case, we are referring to children. Now, let's get down to business in convincing you, my opponents, that we stand resolute, that no, parents should not have a legal duty to monitor their children's use of connected devices, and they should not face penalties for negligence either. My opponents, don't you think agreeing that parents should face penalties with the law for negligence for not digitally monitoring their children on connected device is harsh and inconsiderate? Are all our parents in the Jamaican diaspora equipped with the knowledge, information, and devices to digitally monitor their children? I demand answers. I want to know. Better yet, are all parents technologically inclined? But wait, the million-dollar question is, can all parents read? Can all of them comprehend and operate the devices and apps to digitally monitor their children? My opponents, how can you make such an unreasonable judgment to hold a person accountable to face penalty for something they simply do not know how to do? I believe standing to support this shows a lack of intelligence on your part. My opponents, we are here to create solutions, not be a part of the problem. My second speaker will elaborate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Holland. Your second speaker may elaborate now, but that was a very good presentation. Well, I would much rather move into well, we'll wait for halfway tree. We'll give halfway tree some time. Although I know, well, to allow the judges to judge the first presentations properly, we'll need to move to halfway trees first speaker. So halfway trees, 3 minutes will begin now. Judges, there was no overrun in the presenter's time. The time was within limit. Thank you very much, Holland. Halfway tree, you're going to be front and center.
Mr. Oret,
Yes, ma'am.
allow Alan just to do the presentation from one speaker to the next. Let the presentation flow, please.
Well, unfortunately,
you take
we
the
made
next.
the decision and switched speakers already. So the
Because
young
they're not talking about the same issue, and I want to ensure that the line of argument continues or it connects.
Well, I noticed that the judges agree with your position, and I am not a judge in this match. The judge has overruled my decision to put you front and center halfway tree. Holland, second speaker, it's your turn.
Judges, my teammates, teachers present, my opponents, a pleasant afternoon to you all. My name is Sunny Quallaburn, the second speaker for the Holland Primary School debate team. My opponents, I must admit that I am struggling to understand how you would try to convince us that parents should have a legal duty to digitally monitor children connected devices, or else face penalties for negligence. My opponent, digitally monitoring children can be compared to 24/7 surveillance that is almost the same job required of government security. Hawkeye and King Alarm when they place on duty, and the truth is, even these highly secure companies fail at preventing robberies, theft, and criminal activities. So how do you expect our parents to digitally monitor children 24/7 when they have to work and provide for them? Why do you act as if parents are not humans? No one is perfect. How can you place a penalty on something that you have no control over all the time? Don't you think it's best to put enforced laws on an operate age when children must be given devices or use devices independently than putting over blame on parents for improper usage of these devices? It is simply unfair and judgmental for parents to be placed in such a serious situation. According to an article published by the Daily Star on February 9, 2023, written by Azara Umera, titled Tackling Frustration with Non-Tech Savvy Parents. It said, and I quote, "If we are sure about one thing, it is that our parents are not early adopters. They are what American socialist Everett Brothers call the plate majority. Numerous studies are shown that as people grow older, the brain requires more time to learn new facts. This is because the function of the brain responsible for receiving, process, and relying information becomes less effective due of origin and decreased activities. Hence, when teaching your parents new technology, it is important to approach the task with patience and compassion, end quote. Did you hear that, my opponents? Most parents are not technologically inclined, and in some cases, children even have to teach their own parents about technology. Do you know why? Because they simply don't know how to use technology. They don't. There exists a generation gap as it relates to technology. Don't you think? How inconsiderate are you to agree that parents must face harsh penalties for not digitally monitoring their children on these devices that they obviously know nothing about? It's simply I'm not here to say parents should not protect their children. However, there are other effective ways to ensure children are safer online than putting hard penalties on parents. What about making mandatory in all schools to teach safety online courses or subjects? What about implementing programs to teach parents how to digitally monitor their children? What about putting age limits on when children should get devices? All these suggestions, my opponents, are solution-based, not problem-based. So go back to the drawing board because parents should not have a legal duty to digitally monitor their children or face penalties for negligence. I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Holland. That was an excellent present. Well, if I'm allowed to say that, judges, that was an excellent presentation. I believe I am your whip, if I am to understand. And then when my whipping is finished, your third speaker will come in and sum up your argument and challenge anything that I may have mentioned that needs challenging. First speaker, I'll begin with you. Of course, I must remind you that I am presenting as Wake Up Jamaica this afternoon, and therefore your moods must tie in to some of the things that Wake Up Jamaica wants Jamaicans to appreciate the role and function of a constitution, their responsibilities and duties towards it, and how important it is right now that as discussions are taking place about what Jamaica's constitution should look like, people should get involved. The moot places a legal duty on parents to digitally monitor their children. We are hearing from Holland Primary that that legal duty cannot work because parents are too dumb. Can I ask you, first speaker? That was my understanding. I mean, Holland can correct. But can I ask the first speaker, ma'am, are all parents digitally illiterate? Or just the parents that you interviewed and that you surveyed? Because I am not aware of all parents being digitally ignorant at all.
Pardon me?
Well, I asked whether all parents were ignorant or just some, and I'll follow that up by asking whether we can then put this legal duty on parents who are knowledgeable. Can we put the legal duty on parents who are knowledgeable and leave the ignorant ones alone?
Excuse me, sir. Sir, you can't put legal duty on someone without and there's not a law to back it up.
Yes, and you're arguing that you don't want this law that I believe should be implemented so that a legal duty can be placed on parents. And you're saying that the parents, yes.
No, we are not. We need the law. And when we have the law, we can agree. And when we have the law, we can agree that yes, parents should monitor their children digitally. But we don't have the law as yet. There is no law that stands that.
I was off, but you were telling us that we cannot have this law because parents don't know enough and that they're not technologically inclined, you said. It sounded like a cartel rhyme.
Excuse me, sir, that is not what we are saying.
Clarify, please. What are you saying, first speaker, Holland?
Excuse me, sir, we are saying until our country get a law, we cannot judge them or give them a harsh penalty.
Oh, so you're saying that we cannot, which we're saying the same thing, but I'll move on. I'll allow the judges to decide whether you fully understand the mood. The second speaker spoke about, and this connects to the first speaker, the second speaker spoke about how unreasonable it is to punish parents who might not even be able to read. She threw back something to, so I was of the understanding that because parents were not, you called it the technology gap, I believe, that because there was this technology gap, second speaker, we cannot hold parents responsible. Wasn't that the argument that you were making? I am saying, let us institute your solutions. If your solutions will work, let us then hold parents responsible after we have taught them how to use the device. Would you agree, second speaker?
Generally, we can't judge them without a law.
Right, and you're insisting no law. I understand. Third speaker, I think the whip rests. Third speaker Holland, your turn. Can't hear you, third speaker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Montague. Miss Moody here from Half a Tree Primary.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to interrupt, but I'm just coming in because I had to assist my grade 5 students. But based on observation that I am seeing now, you're asking the question, correct?
Yes, I am the whip.
The person with answering, I'm not seeing them on the monitor, and at one point I hear the teacher providing answers for the child a while.
I heard it
I don't
as well.
I don't really understand what is going on.
The judges will decide. I heard it as well. They would have heard everything you heard. And so
Okay,
they'll
then.
be able to decide.
All right, thank you.
Welcome. Your turn, third speaker.
Judges, teammates, teachers, my opponent, a pleasant afternoon to you all. My name is J.R. Smith, the third speaker of the Holland Primary School, the Baker Gaston. After several efforts, my teammates have made you to convince you that parents should not have a legal duty to digitally monitor their children. You are still struggling to do so. Let me make it abundantly clear that we are not saying devices are not harmful. Holding parents accountable to digitally monitor a child at all times is far-fetched and unrealistic. My opponent, where do you spend most of your time? I thought so too. At school. Now, where do you spend less time? At home. Are teachers held accountable by law to digitally monitor children? The answer is no. And also, children take their devices with them to school. What in the world happened to setting rules and boundaries with these devices? Why can't they be consistent when rules are not ahead? As a matter of fact, students can access these devices at game shops, computer labs, and internet cafes. Our parents accepted to digitally monitor them at all places. I would love to hear your response because I want to know. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Holland. Well presented. Good presentation. The judges will comment shortly. Excellent presentations, though. Thank you, and wonderfully wrapped up. I noticed that the third speaker didn't comment on anything that I said, but okay. I don't feel any way about it. We'll move on to halfway tree. Halfway tree primary, of course. Your moot, we'll put you front and center. Just give me a moment. There we go. Of course, halfway tree primary, your moot different from, while we're doing this, the judges will be tallying the points using the rubric for the three speakers that we've just heard. In the meantime, I'm getting to halfway trees moot. Halfway trees moot. This house would create state-monitored family zones on public transportation and at designated public sites to protect children from early exposure to violent and pornographic content. I absolutely love this move, can I tell you? And it's a move that I hope that Halfway Tree will do some justice. I'll send it in writing to the judges so that they can see the move before them, given that it's a different mood from the one we just heard. And then we'll allow the presentations to begin. Halfway Tree Primary, your first 3 minutes from your, well, I'll wait to hear from a judge. Judges, are we ready? I think our judges are ready. Remember, judges will comment on the presentations and announce scores after you are finished Halfway Tree. And also remember that the team, I think given we're using this format, we could have still had a winner by determining the difference in scores. But we already agreed to pass the points off and to only use the best speaker as the distinction. So the speaker with the highest accumulated scores from this match will be the best speaker. We'll allow you to begin now. Halfway Tree, your first 3 minutes begins now. Go ahead.
Honorable judges, esteemed adversaries, and members of the audience,
There is a volume problem. We'll allow you to start again, but the volume needs to be a bit higher, or the device that is picking up the audio probably ought to be closer to the speaker.
It is, give us a minute, please. Let us just adjust because school is over. Judges. School is over and there's a lot of noise on the outside. So
understood.
Yes.
The judges are still tallying. So
okay, we're ready.
I've only received one tally of scores so far. Go ahead, Halfway Tree. Your first 3 minutes begins now.
Honorable judges, esteemed adversaries, and members of the audience, I stand before you today.
Please pause for us again, Halfway Tree. We'll allow Miss Vaz, one of the judges, to speak to you.
Halfway Tree, I'm going to suggest that you step forward so that you are much closer to the microphone. So take one big step forward.
Yes, we have already done that.
Oh, so he can't go forward any further is what you're saying. Okay.
Okay. That's the best we can do.
Okay, so no problem. So I'm gonna just ask you to pretend you are on a stage and there are a bunch of people out there who can't hear you, and so you speak up. Okay? We are very excited to hear what it is that you have to say on this mute.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I hope that this time around you'll give us a better run, Halfway Tree. So Halfway Tree, it's back over to you. Your 3 minutes begins now.
Honorable judges, esteemed adversaries, and members of the audience, I stand before you today not merely as an advocate, but as a staunch proponent of safeguarding the innocence and well-being of our children. In an era defined by technological advancement and digital proliferation, the motion before us holds profound significance. It calls upon us to create these designated family zones in public spaces, thereby providing a sanctuary where our children can flourish without fear of exposure to violent and inappropriate content. As we embark on this discourse, let us reflect upon the timeless wisdom of Nelson Mandela. He astutely observed that the true character of society is revealed in how it treats its children. Indeed, our response to this motion is a litmus test of our collective conscience and commitment to nurturing the next generation. Let us seize this opportunity to showcase our character as a compassionate and protective society that places the well-being of its children at the forefront of its priorities. Delving deeper into the crux of this matter, it becomes evident that the proliferation of harmful content poses a grave threat to the holistic development of our children. From explicit violence to inappropriate material, the digital landscape is rife with dangers that can erode the innocence of our youth. By establishing family zones, we not only create physical boundaries, but also send a resounding message. Our children deserve spaces where they can thrive and grow without the specter of harm looming over them. Thus, I beseech each one of you to lend your unwavering support to this motion. Let us rise above partisan divides and ideological differences to champion a cause that transcends politics and protect our children. Together, let us sow the seed of a safer and more nurturing environment for generations to come. For in our collective actions lies the promise of a brighter future of our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Half a Tree, first speaker. The speaker was within time, judges. Half a Tree, second speaker. Your presentation begins now.
Members of the audience, distinguished judges, and respected colleagues, I stand before you today to address a matter of utmost importance, the safety and protection of our children. In the motion on the table proposes a significant step towards achieving this goal by advocating for the establishment of state-monitored family zones in public transportation and other communal and communal spaces. This initiative is not just a mere suggestion, it is a fundamental necessity in our modern day society. As we delve into the heart of this matter, let us not overlook the sobering statistics presented by the World Health Organization. Their research unequivocally demonstrates that children exposed to violence are at high intended risks of developing behavioral and emotional issues. The implications of this are profound, affecting not only individual lives, but also the very fabric of our society. Thus, it becomes imperative for us to band together and prioritize the well-being of our children by advocating for safer public spaces. Beyond the realm of statistics lies the lived experience of countless families grappling with repercussions of unchecked exposure to harmful content. We cannot turn a blind eye to the impact of violent and inappropriate material on impressible young minds. By implementing state-monitored family zones, where we send a clear message, the safety of our children is non-negotiable. It is incumbent upon us as responsible citizens and stewards of the future to take proactive measures to shield our children from harm. Therefore, I implore each one of you to lend your support to this crucial motion. Let us transcend the barriers of indifference and complacency and take decisive action to create a society that cherishes and safeguards its most vulnerable members. Together, we can forge a path together to a brighter and safer future for our children. I thank you.
Thank you, Half a Tree, second speaker. Oh, it's you and that young lady? Well, I may still call on any of your other speakers, as you are aware. I'll comment on what I've heard, I'll oppose, and then I'll throw questions. So my ugly face will take front and center again. And I'll remind you again that you are to indeed keep awake. And that is why I look like Superman when I show you the Wake Up Jamaica logo, because our moods are centered on ensuring that as Jamaicans, we recognize that the Constitution is currently being discussed. Important rules are being written that will determine how you interact with the state and how the state interacts with you. And therefore, it's important that you have these discussions among yourselves and send the message to your politicians about the type of constitution that you want to see. Now, Half a Tree, you are trying to convince us that we ought to give up some of our freedoms, even if it is in small geographic spaces, so that your children can be safe. But I love to listen to my dancehall music. daggering is quite nice to me. And maybe I must tell you, I'll interject. That is only because I'm debating here and taking this position. But I'll go back. And now you're trying to tell us that we ought to have spaces in our society where we have to curb our tongues and behaviors to please your children. You must be having a laugh. You ought to look after your children at home, and you ought to teach your children that whatever they see in public is not something that they should copy. And therefore, I oppose this notion that the state should designate spaces where our rights have to be curtailed so that your children can go about in peace. I'll put the first question to Halfway Tree's first speaker because he eloquently raised Nelson Mandela. Mr. First Speaker, we are in Jamaica and I understand the comparison, but in South Africa, do they allow dirty music? Don't they allow any type of music to play anywhere in most African countries? Has it, sorry, I can't hear you, sir.
No, sir.
Are you saying that Jamaica is the only country where we can hear this type of vibration on our public transport?
No, sir, that's not what I'm saying.
So what are you saying? Are we going to be unique as a country and introduce some law that prevents us from being ourselves everywhere? Or are there other countries that you know that have done this?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
We're not saying that we should ban this types of songs that people like in every places. That's why we're saying that we're supposed to create family-friendly zones that songs and those stuff cannot be played.
But why? I mean, I can hear the safety thing. Song not going to thump down anybody. A song won't rob your second speaker. Your second speaker spoke about safety. How will these zones that have clean music and clean atmosphere contribute to safety? Does it stop someone from robbing you in the zone?
No, sir. Sir, what we're saying, like the song "Greatest Love of All," Whitney Houston sang it. It said that she believes the children are the future. So, like our prime minister said, we are the future of his country. So they're supposed to look out for the children and try to protect them, because if they don't protect us and we become bad citizens, they're not going to really have a future. Their future is going to be bad.
I fully understand that. Second speaker, if you can't answer, of course, I understand that you can throw in the whip. But still, can you tell me how this dirty music makes you safe and unsafe and unprotected? It is not as though the music can rob you.
Well, sir, although
have you ever been robbed by a song, ma'am?
No, sir. Although it doesn't make you safe, at least it would be protecting the minds from listening to the inappropriate music that they're not supposed to be listening to at their age, and also as what Sajani said. As what Sajani said, children are the future. So practically, we're not supposed to be allowing the young minds to be listening to these inappropriate music, because although it doesn't rob you, it can also develop its habit of making things also happen.
Excuse me, sir. As the song, the dancehall songs, they introduce violence. So if they keep listening to the violent songs, they will be the persons that are doing the robbery and not the persons that are being robbed.
Oh, the music makes them do the robbery. Thank you very much for the contribution. It's your turn, Madam Third Speaker, Halfway Tree. But I'm finished.
Worthy opponents, while concerns about individual freedoms are valid, we must also consider the freedom of our children to grow up in a secure environment. This motion is not about curtailing rights, but fulfilling our duty as a society to safeguard our children's well-being. Research consistently demonstrates the detrimental effects of exposure to violent media on children's behavior and mental health. The finding of Bushman and Usman 2006 underscore this point, highlighting the correlation between exposure to violent content and increased aggression in young individuals. As responsible members of society, it is incumbent upon us to prioritize the protection of our children over any perceived infringement on individual liberties. Furthermore, let us not forget that the implementation of family zones is not a draconian measure, but a proactive step towards creating inclusive and welcoming public spaces. By designating certain areas as family-friendly zones, we are not only safeguarding the well-being of children, but also fostering a sense of community and shared responsibility. In conclusion, supporting this motion is not just a moral imperative, but also a practical necessity in ensuring the safety and welfare of our children. Let us set aside any reservations and stand united in our commitment to creating a society where children can thrive without fear or exposure to harm. I rest my case.
Thank you very, very much, third speaker, Halfway Tree. Strong presentations from all the speakers, I must say, and a strong presentation there, Halfway Tree. The scores have been coming in. You will allow us, of course, to tally the scores. In the meantime, I am going to ask the judges to give you your comments and your feedbacks on your presentations. I believe that I'll see which of our judges are about ready to do that. Oh, Ms. Vaz will be ready to do that. She has already tallied. And so we'll allow Ms. Vaz first to give her comments on the presentations that were heard. And again, thank you so much for those presentations. Excellent presentations. I can't wait to hear who the guest speaker is and who wins or who would have won today's debate, because we will still tell you based on scores who would have won today's debate.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Montague. I'm hoping everyone can hear me. Halfway Tree and I'm hoping all the schools can hear me. Can everyone hear me? If so, say yes. I guess you're okay. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so I'm going to start with the second presentation, then just go speaker by speaker. Okay.
It is Holland Primary School, Miss.
Okay, thank you, Holland Primary. Okay, so let me start with Holland Primary. First speaker, so very strong, so very passionate. I am going to say that I had to give you a 5 in the area of definitions of terms and use of facts and statistics, because you set up the stage for your fellow teammates by ensuring everyone understood what is being discussed. So you gave that clarity, and you did so with a lot of passion. For speaker number 2, I would say that you very strongly brought home what it is that your team was saying. I found myself agreeing, and I should say that I was on the opposite side until I heard your arguments. So I give your team very strong points. For the third speaker, I have to say that your presentation style, the temperament and the respect with which you communicated made me accept what it is that you were saying even more so. So I would have to say that that's the feedback that I have for each of the speakers. So speaker number 3, your presentation, which showed quite a lot of respect, was probably the way in which things were communicated. I think that was very well done. Speaker 2, very good team player in making sure that you followed up on very strong points. And speaker number 1, you really did set the tone. Kudos to all of you. You did a very good job. I didn't even know how halfway through primary was going to come forward and step up to the plate. Moving on to halfway through primary. Wow, you did actually come and step up to the plate. You came to play. So I would have to say with the first speaker, I would have liked to have seen more a definition of the terms and the facts and the scope when you opened up. However, kudos to your entire team, but to you with regards to how you presented. I thought that you were very respectful in your presentation, and as such, I was able to hear and to understand what you were communicating. With speaker number 2, again, very strong presentation style throughout your entire team. Strong presentation style, and I believe that you supported your team very well in the position of second speaker. For the third speaker, I mean, I don't want to compare the three of you by saying you saved the best for last, but it was a very strong end. Kudos to you, third speaker. I found it hard to deduct points from you. I thought that you gave us the scope when you were speaking. There was a clarity of the information you were trying to get across, and it was very organized. Your delivery was very organized. As I said, the style right across your team has been very respectful, and therefore it made the communication work very well. I also think that your team was very good throughout on use of time. So that is that's what I have to say to the speakers and to the team. Wow, thank you so much. I sat down here and I was engaged for the entire time. I'm hoping that you were equally engaged when you were researching these books.
Indeed, thank you so very much. And I know I'm not to be commenting, but I have to comment on one thing that you said. Holland swung me too, because that mood, some parents really can't read for true. So thank you very much for those comments. Miss Michelle Barnes, your turn.
Good afternoon, everybody. I will be starting with halfway three. The overall tone of the team was excellent. As was stated by the first judge, definition of terms kind of fall short there, but I love the second speaker and how she supported the argument posited by the first speaker, and the third speaker did very good. I liked the person's delivery and use of time for the team overall was very good. For Holland, well researched. My only issue with the team, there were two things. The tone, your tone for me came off a little bit aggressive. So color your tone when you're speaking so you don't sound too loud and it doesn't come off too aggressive. But the first speaker set the mood and I understood clearly where we were going. The second speaker for me did very, very well. I like the salient points that she posited. I like the remedial measures that you were putting in place. I could tell as you spoke about the digital illiteracy that exists on a large scale. And I realized that you understand what you were saying. The only problem I had was how you responded to the questions posed to you. I did not like the fact that the teacher did not allow you to think independently to respond. But overall, it was exceptional. It was very good. I really liked it. I liked how it flowed. I really commend the second speaker.
Thank you very much, Miss Barnes. I believe Miss Williams may have already left the room. She needs to dismiss her institution. It is dismissal time, but she has submitted her scores, and so I'll be able to announce. And I'll pause my announcement. I believe a judge wants to say something. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, one of our judges mentioned something about the tone for Team One. And it is not that you cannot use sarcasm when you are communicating, but if it is throughout the entire communication, it loses its power. So I would say make it a more calmer, less argumentative communication, and then choose your moment. Choose your moment when you would like to hit home with something sarcastic. I'm not saying that you can't use it, but use it sparingly. That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. I would agree. Thank you very much. In terms of the winner, because it's what you're now all waiting to hear. I'm sure. So the judges have submitted their scores, and two of our judges ruled Holland Primary to be on 16 out of 25 on average, 16.5 out of 25. And another judge ruled Holland Primary to be on 17 out of 25. So in terms of halfway tree, the judges overall ruled that halfway tree was on 18 out of 25 when the average is considered. So if teams were going head to head, halfway tree would have won this match based on the scores of all of our judges except one. But the one judge had only a point of one separated. So based on that, halfway tree would have won today's match head to head. Now, the decision on the best speaker was a bit trickier. In terms of Holland, two of our judges thought that the best speaker from Holland Primary was the first speaker. And so the first speaker from Holland Primary deserves commendations. Well done. And the third speaker from Halfway Tree got the nod from two of our judges. One of our judges gave the second speaker from both Halfway Tree and Holland the nod. And so based on the one being the outlier, it is the first speaker from Holland and the third speaker from Halfway Tree that it's all between. And so now we have to look at the scores that were given to the first speaker from Holland and to the first speaker from Halfway Tree. I can tell you that one of our judges gave the first speaker from Holland 19 points. Another judge gave the first speaker from Holland 16 points. And another judge gave the first speaker from Holland 18 points. So that is 19, 16, and 18. Quick maths will tell you that we're at about 17.8 on our average. In terms of the third speaker from Halfway Tree, one judge gave that speaker 18 points. The other judge gave the third speaker from Halfway Tree 20 points. And the third judge gave the third speaker from Halfway Tree 14 points. And so Halfway Tree, your average still beats the average from Holland because we're looking at 18 and 20 and 14. Again, my quick maths. Wow, This is a very close one. My quick maths puts them even pretty much because I'll repeat the scores: 19, 16, and 18 for halfway trees for Holland's first speaker, and 18, 20, and 14 for halfway trees first speaker. So we're looking at 52, I believe. And I don't know.
By my calculation, I have Holland to be the winner by just one digi point.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting as well. That's the Holland first speaker. We have 18, 20, and 14. And we have 18, 16, and 19. Well, we'll leave that there. So it looks like we're going to have to give the best speaker presentation, the best speaker to Holland's first speaker. But the victory for today's match, you will still get some points, but we have to go with victory points based on the fact that both teams were judged at the same time. I think that I'll still allow Mr. Barrett to give his opinion. But I really do still believe that we should name a winner. Based on the scores, halfway tree would have won today's match, and the best speaker would have been the first speaker from Holland. But of course, Holland will still pick up winnings. We can't look at it that way though, because the teams did not compete against each other. So both teams, recall, both teams are getting points for today, but the best speaker point is going to Holland. Any questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Can you give me the scores for the third speaker from Halfway Tree? Because for some reason they both are coming out at 17.6 for me.
Yes, the third speaker from Halfway Tree. The third speaker from Halfway Tree received 14, 20, and 18.
20 plus
18, 14, 20, and 18.
By 3. 17.3. Wow. A fraction of
no,
a point.
my apologies. The third speaker, Halfway Tree, got 24 points from Miss Williams. So the third speaker, Halfway Tree, got 24 points from Miss Williams. I didn't. I must apologize. Pardon?
Right. So the third speaker, which is the one that you said is in competition. What are the numbers for the third speaker?
Third speaker, Halfway Tree, 24 from Judge Williams. Plus? 14 and 24, 14, and 18.
Okay, so that's 18.6 though.
Yes, so it's Halfway Tree's third speaker that would have walked away with best speaker today.
Right.
So my apologies. The judge who left her points score or her scores changed that reality. And so it's 18.6. Thank you, ma'am. That is the average for Halfway Tree's third speaker, Sajani. And Holland, your first speaker would have barely missed out. So there we have it. Halfway Tree, you would have left with looks like higher points and winnings and the best speaker. So the best speaker comes from Halfway Tree. Both teams will collect points for winning today's match. Halfway Tree will collect points for best speaker. Any other questions? And congratulations, Halfway Tree. I should put the camera on myself so you can see me clapping. Congratulations, Halfway Tree. We'll allow your teachers to comment and then we'll wrap up today's proceedings. Thank you very much. We'll begin with Holland. Holland, ma'am, are you there?
Pardon me, sir.
Holland, we're not seeing a video. Holland.
I said, pardon me, who do you want to speak to?
The team manager, sir. And congratulations, well done, first speaker halfway tree. First speaker Holland, my apologies. Holland, where's Miss? Well, we move to halfway through while Miss gets ready. And well done again, Holland. A judge said that you swayed her mind about the mood. You swayed my mind too, I must tell you, because I used to be adamant that parents must face penalties when them children buck up foolishness on devices. So we'll start with halfway tree. Halfway tree, your comments, please, ma'am.
It's a well-played match this evening. Congratulations to the next team, well played. And we thank you for coming this evening. You had some bad weather, but you are still here. We had some challenges ourselves with venue and all of that and the exam going on, but we are all here and that is what counts. Bottom line is all the children from both teams have learned and are still learning. This competition is very good for them, you know. It builds them critically as well as, you know, this critical competition. So we are happy to be a part of it and we'll continue to take part. Congratulations again to Holland and thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, and thank you for preparing your team so wonderfully. I mean, all the credit is to the teachers, I must tell you, and we really want to reward you well in this competition. Yes. And the young people, thank you so much to Johnny. You're one of the stars we're watching in this competition, I must tell you. Okay, Holland, your time.
Oh, any scholarships?
Hello, Miss.
It's one of our top students, you know, we're looking out for her.
Yes, man, I'm sure one will come.
Okay, thank you.
You need to apply for scholarship to
yes.
the Bob and Rita Marley Foundation. So send a letter, write this down. This is an email address I'm going to ask you to write down.
Well.
Write down, do you have pen and paper? Okay. Alicia, that's Alicia.
Alicia, yeah.
Yes.
BobMarleyFoundation.org.
That's Alicia at BobMarleyFoundation.org. It will be formally sent to you, Miss.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate it. Thank you.
So request what kind of scholarship assistance you might be looking for with regards to that student.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Miss was referring to scholarship winnings through the competition.
Yeah, we'll take that.
We'll take all that we can get.
True.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Alan. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Well done to all the students. Well done to Halfway Tree. We are grateful that we were able to be their worthy opponents. And our students would have garnered a lot of experience even out of this one match. And one of them is what the competition is all about. Critical thinking, thinking on your feet, you know, being able to navigate instantly. So we are happy to be a part of the competition. And as for today's competition, we had so many ups and downs. Rain falling, school over, crowd, noise, but we tried because we are committed to the task of being in this competition. And it's our first time and we are happy to be in there, and we are doing our best. We are trying our best to do, you know, to do our best. So there you have it. It will only be our best. We are happy for the comments of the judges. We have taken notes Please note, Holland Primary School is a school that develops because we take whatever comments and recommendations we get, and we look into them and we see how best this can help us to become better and even best at what we do. So we thank the judges very much. We respectfully thank Mr. Montague for hosting, and thank you for another well done match again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Holland. You know I love Holland. Holland is in St. Elizabeth, and my neighbor Spring is there. So thank you very much, Holland. Excellent match, I agree. It was a shame the moods weren't tied up, but it was still a good presentation. Thank you so much, judges. I'm very grateful. Two of our judges joined us at very short notice, so I'm very grateful. Thank you very, very much, Ms. Vaz. Dedication to the competition is clear, and we're very grateful for that. So to clarify, both teams collect winning points today, but the best speaker came from Halfway Tree. It was Halfway Tree's Sujani. Is it Mitchell's? Forgive me if I got your surname wrong, ma'am. But of course, Sujani is one of the stars in the junior league, and we're continuing to watch you, ma'am. Commendations in order for the first speaker, Holland. Excellent presentation. And it is worth saying, Holland, if you are facing a team with a similar mood, I don't think that team would have gotten the better of you. Because you definitely handled the mood very, very well. So congratulations. Thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And thank you again for giving us a wonderful day.